Yo, what's up, y'all? DPS podcast. That's Damage Per Second podcast. We back once again. Fine Thursday evening, a little late. Apologize for that. Work had me do some things that didn't quite work out the way we wanted it to. But basically, I said to myself, can I squeeze all this stuff in and still get the podcast going right on time? I could have. But I was like, let me be cautious, push the pod back 30 minutes, and it turned out that's exactly the amount of time I needed. So, like I said, once again, episode 132. Forte, what's up, bro? Gaming Forte in the house. What's up, man?
What up, though? It's a great day. It's nice outside. The birds are chirping.
Oh my gosh, I know why you're so happy.
It's a great day. I spent a lot of money.
Oh no. Oh, okay. I kind of dread the. Well, I spent some money too, and then I took that money back. so you tell me what you spent a lot of money on, then I'll tell everyone what I spent a lot of money on.
Oh man, I spent a lot of money today. Well, I already had the Tears of the Kingdom Switch. That was taken care of 2 weeks ago.
Okay,
but
that's like $350 wasted. All right,
$350. Well, not yeah, it was $350, but I traded it in my OLED, so was no reason to have two of them. So that got it, and then I got the collector's edition of the game. That is I'm picking up tonight at the midnight, and then I have the Pro controller, which looks amazing. So I have another Pro. That was $80. That was $70. Nintendo know how to get you for these accessories.
Why do you need another Pro controller?
Because I traded it. I traded in my original Pro controller a long time ago because I wasn't using it, and the problem is I probably won't use this one either. But the fact that it's got Zelda on it, it's going to sit on my shelf with the rest of my Zelda stuff. So. This is more of an eyepiece thing than anything.
Okay, so we got $350 for the system. The system. We got
$129 for the game.
$129 for the game. So we up at $470, and then
$74 for the controller.
Hey, that's just rounded up to $80. So you got $450 spent. Okay, what else?
And I bought the collector's edition guide for $40. Because I have the Breath of the Wild one too, and it would look lonely if I didn't have it.
So $500 spent when you could have just spent $70
on a game that's gonna probably run at 24 frames per second. but guess what?
Hey now, but I want to be fair because there'll be people out here that'll be like slow mo is a Nintendo hater. Let's be fair. Digital Foundry did their tech review. They said pre-patch, yes, it was dropping into like 24, 20 frames per second, all willy-nilly anytime you did anything. But after the patch, which was going to be the version of the game that people play when the game launches, it's at 30 frames per second for the most part, except for a particular, I guess, a little move you do or something that makes your frame rate drop to like 20 frames per second.
I saw that they did their video, but I didn't want to watch it because I didn't want to be disappointed. Listen, I was already committed, so I was like, it really don't matter if this thing runs at 24 frames or not. I'm still buying it because I love Zelda. So I didn't look at it. So it's good to hear that
you're happy for 30 frames per second.
No, listen. I said me and Addict got into this the other day when I was on the Addict show. He was talking.
Shout out to Gaming Addict.
Yeah, we were talking about shout out to him. Shout out to Dirt Greedy. They asked me about that. It was like, how can you be excited? You're the first person to say Redfall is absolute garbage. You should never play a game like that at less than 60 frames per second. And I was like, you know what? You're absolutely right. And then he said, well, Forte, why are you so excited for a game that's going to run less than 30 frames per second in Tears of the Kingdom? I was like, there's no good reason for that, sir. But the fact that I love
you can't even
you can't. There's no defeat. Listen, I told them on the show. I told them on that show. I was like, listen, anybody that caps and tells you that you do not have a point when they say something like that. Anybody that's going to play Zelda today or tomorrow or for the next month or however long it takes them to go through the game, anybody that tells you that and is buying Zelda, they absolutely are lying to you. They can absolutely deal with 30 frames per second. It may just be the fact that they don't want to do it. Like in my case, I won't do it on all those titles because I feel like those titles and the platform that they're on should have better quality and stuff like that.
We also have to recognize the Switch isn't just capable of doing
that
anything more than what it's doing versus Redfall, where the hardware is even the Series S is capable of 60 frames per second, and it's not there because of the developers, not because of the hardware. People have to recognize there's a difference between the two.
There is a difference.
And if people don't want to recognize that difference, that's on them. They can make all the excuses they want, but like at the end of the day, you know, certain games get treated the way they get treated because of the content of the game, not necessarily just the frame rate. So whatever.
I agree.
What did I spend money on? So shout out to Asus out here, who's out here just like burning bridges left and right. And I'm not gonna get into some of the other drama. Our community here is primarily console gamers, and switching gamers, console gamers too, but and some PC gamers. So I won't get into massive details about all the controversy that's going on with Asus and their really bad PR issues with their motherboards and customer service being extremely poor with that. But today they announced well, they already announced this, but they opened the pre-orders up for their new handheld, the ROG Ally. And they had the little press conference earlier that I thought was really funny because they kept referencing the Nintendo Switch without saying the Nintendo Switch. They were just like, that other handheld that can only do 720p. And I'm
you talking about the Steam Deck?
I was thinking like, which one are you talking about? Because like there's two of them, but they were definitely talking about because they kept having these graphs, these benchmark graphs that showed the average frame rates of certain games, and I knew they had to be talking about the Switch because the frame rate was like 25 frames per second versus like if it was Steam Deck it'd be like 45, 50, 60 maybe, right? So all that said, they also showed off. So this is an interesting thing, right? So they showed us the Asus ROG Ally previously, and they said it was going to be $59.99, and then they came out with this presentation, and then they're like, and then here we have the Extreme, and then everybody was like, the what? You got another model. It's like, of course, a lot of people was like, of course, waiting for the other shoe to drop. And then they kept showing the benchmarks of the Extreme and everything, but they kept like really like not trying to talk about something that's really important when it comes to handhelds, which is battery life. They were just power. Look at our Generation 4 SSD. Look at the speeds. Look at all power. 2-hour battery time. Power. It was just like, well, no, go back. What did you say about the battery time? It was just like, power. We're more powerful. 1080p OLED screen, ROG lights, RGB lights, 2-hour battery. Anyway, moving on. Like I was like, oh snap! Like you really didn't stick to that part about the battery too much. Yeah,
they talk about that 144 hertz screen, but you only gonna be able to play it for 15 minutes.
Right. So it was interesting. So like and then somehow, I'm still sitting here looking at everything, and I still ended up, they were just like, and pre-orders are live on Best Buy right now, and I was just like, oh, let me go see how it's looking on Best Buy. Is it because typically when you out here with so hold on, I'll get to super chat in a minute. When you out here, you know how it is with GPUs and PS5s and stuff. Like sometimes, like when stuff go up and it's like it's brand new up for pre-order. Like for example, the Tears of the Kingdom pre-order collector's edition. I'm pretty sure that thing went sold out in like a millisecond.
3 minutes.
Right,
3
right.
minutes.
So you just kind of want to see how quickly things go out. And just I logged into Best Buy and I'm like, oh man, they got it on the home page right there. As soon as you log into Best Buy, bam, right there. It's the ROG Ally, and I'm like, okay. And then I hit the button just to see. I'm like, oh, they're still available. And then I
see if it's still available right now.
Yeah, I hit add to cart. And I'm like, man, it's still available. And then next thing I know, I pre-ordered. How did I pre-order this? I just pre-ordered it. I just bought it. You know, I was just like, oh, okay, all right. Cool.
Oh, it's still available right now.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's still up here for pre-order.
Interesting. Moving on. So, you know, I'm on Twitter, you know, and I'm like, you know, like I bought an Ally. You know, everyone's discussing and talking about it. But then, you know, it just kept, like, I kept thinking to myself, like, my mind, in the back of my mind, my you know, my conscience was like, you know damn well you ain't gonna use it. I'm just like, shh, man. It's more powerful than my Steam Deck. You don't even use your Steam Deck. True. I mean, I don't use it. I don't. But you know what? No, you do need. You need a new CPU. Because, you know, unfortunately, these developers, they're not gonna optimize their games on PC. And here you are with your 9700K. You know, you got your 4-year-old CPU that's just hanging on for dear life. You could just, if you're gonna spend $700, spend $700 on a new CPU and a motherboard. That was just like trying to ignore the logical side until I couldn't ignore it no more. I just like, let me just cancel this. I'm not using crap. Let me go get a new CPU. So that's what I'm doing. I've chosen the CPU. I'm getting i7 13700K CPU. But
and then the other side of the coin drop that we will not talk about.
Yeah,
it will literally take 45 minutes.
We take 45 minutes to explain the tomfoolery going on with motherboards nowadays.
Maybe we'll save that for next week.
Yeah, because I'm just like, which motherboard I choose now? It was an easy choice initially, and now I'm sitting here like, choice. I'm just biting my nails like, what motherboard do I really want? Like, which one isn't going to be made by a company that's going to screw me over? I don't know. But outside of that, Forte, like, what do you know? We've been spending money today, but what have you actually been playing?
Oh man.
Oh, my bad. Hold on.
Okay.
Let me get the super chat. Shout out to Erodimus. $2 super chat. Here's some funds for slow-mo, you traitor. Alley gang for life. Wow. I mean, like, he act like he got that tatted on his abdomen and everything. Like, it's been less than 24 hours and y'all already got a gang. You're already trying to jump me out of it. I didn't even know I was in it. You know, it's crazy. I didn't even know it was like that. All right, go ahead, Forte.
Yeah, I'm good on that thing, man. 15-minute battery. I'm good. Been playing Star Wars, man. That game, especially since the latest patch, I mean, it's still got some performance issues, but for the most part, it's definitely running a lot better in its quality and performance mode. Okay. So I'm really liking that. I like it more than the first one at this point now.
You never finished the first one, correct?
No, and I'm actually more sticking with this one now more than I did. Is it because
it's easier? Because it's definitely easier. It is so much easier than Fallen Order.
I didn't even notice it. Maybe that might be why.
I feel like Fallen Order was very like Soulsy, whereas
very much Soulsy. I think
Survivor is more like an action game. I feel like it's just like hardcore, just action, just flat. I don't
think
feel
it's like
the
modern version of Unleashed.
Yeah, that's a good comparison. I think that works. Like I mean, I'm not saying I'm not dying at all. It's like I'm not dying as much as I didn't Fallen Order, and I'm also not really finding it as difficult as Fallen Order was. Like if I die, it's because I did something stupid. I did a very bad choice when doing some of the traversal kind of stuff, but I really haven't been playing too much Jedi Survivor. I did start to get back into it now. They've packed it up on PC, and I'm on the second planet. But I really been playing. The Last of Us Part 1's also patched up. I've been playing some of that. But I've been playing the most thing that I've been playing is Honkai Star Rail, and
what the hell is that?
You don't know about Honkai Star Rail, man?
No. Where's the gameplay
have you been?
Working.
Oh yeah. Let me go throw some gameplay up here.
Yeah, let me see this. Let me see this gameplay.
Hold on. Let me pull it from. I don't know why I didn't have gameplay.
I know that I'm looking for gameplay. Usually, you're the master of that.
Give me. I'm gonna get it. But no, it's a cool game. So it's made. I didn't record anything. What the heck?
Oh my. Terrible.
I took a lot of screenshots. I haven't recorded anything.
I took screenshots of it.
So, Honkai Star Rail. Wait, what is this? What is that? I don't know. Wait. No, that's not. Wait. 5.8. I feel like this is it. Maybe I shouldn't show this if I don't know its actual gameplay. I'm gonna do it. You got this is about to be bad. People will be like, what is this? You've been playing My Little Pony for slow-mo? No.
Yeah, you're right, not slow-mo, not Forte. Forte ain't been doing that.
There it is. It is there. So that is Honkai Star Rail. And it's made by MiHoYo, which is like remember Genshin Impact?
I'm about to say that's who makes Genshin.
Yeah. So it's the same like art style, same same kind of animation, very very high quality animation. The only difference is that this one's very much more story driven than Genshin Impact, and the combat is different. So Genshin Impact is like an action RPG. Honkai Star Rail is a turn-based RPG. And I mean, like I'm enjoying myself so far. Like it's slowly started to creep up on me. Like I played it. It's definitely like it's got some of the things on PC that annoy me. Like it's 60 frames per second locked, which is annoying. You have two options, 30 or 60, and it's just like, bro. It's
no 30 or 60, no higher.
Right? I'm like, what? This is PC, man. Like, how you gonna lock me to 60 frames per second? Come on, bro. So it's like there's that, but it's like it's you can run. I think you can run this on like a 1080 Ti or a 1060 or something real easily. Like it's very super easy to run, but I'm really enjoying the combat. It has the same kind of method of getting characters, which is part of that gacha system stuff. So it's also on mobile as well. It's only on mobile and PC right now. I think it probably will come to PlayStation at some point. I think they don't generally put their stuff on the Xbox, unfortunately. But it's the way you get characters, you either unlock them through the story or you get like these packs, which are basically loot boxes, and then you unlock them that way. I've unlocked a couple that way, but for the most part, I've unlocked them through the story. But that's how they get people. They get people through, because like people want the characters. They want the 5-star characters. And so they like buy a bunch of packs trying to get them all unlocked. And then next thing you know, they spent hundreds of dollars and they still ain't get the character that they wanted. And I'm basically I'm doing what I'm doing with Genshin Impact. I played probably a good 50-60 hours of Genshin Impact before I hit a wall, and I couldn't go any further without spending money. And so I said, well, Well, good. I guess I'm out then. So like so far, I've been playing it,
I'm out, yeah.
and I've been playing this probably a good. I mean, I don't know how many hours I've been playing it, but I feel like it's been playing at least somewhere between 10 to 15 hours, and I haven't had felt the need to spend money on anything yet. Um, Ooh, Miles says, Slubbo, I'm playing at 120. You have to change numbers in the file. Miles, I'm going to need you. Are you on Twitter? I'm going to need you to send that to me in a DM. Okay? I need to know what file you changed. Shout out to Deli in the chat, says, buy a better CPU. My CPU is fine for this game. It's just not fine for any other AAA new releases now because everything wants to be CPU bound and none of these damn devs want to optimize anything. Anyway,
they sure don't.
So I'm getting a new CPU. Fine, okay. Anyway, but that's not the point. But yeah, Miles, let me hit me on Twitter with that file. I need to know what file to change some numbers in because 60 is not where I'm trying to play. Like, I mean, even though it's a turn-based RPG, it's super easy. Maybe move it up a little further so I could like show you guys some of the combat. There it is. There's combat right here. But like, yeah, it's a really fun game, and you can play it on mobile and PC. So if you don't have a gaming PC, you can still play this on your mobile phone. I did install it on my mobile phone, and then I logged in, had all my characters there, all my items, all my gear. Everything was pretty seamless. And I mean, it's touch controls, but it's not bad. It's not bad. But like I said, free game. Check it out if you want to. But I've been playing a lot of this, and I think that's about it. I haven't really even been playing too many like my multiplayer games like that. Not really playing too much Rogue Company, Call of Duty, Halo, just nothing. Oh, I did do The Division 2.
Of course.
I got gameplay of that. They came out with their latest Manhunt, which was so buggy that when you get to the end, even though it was a cool ending to it, and a character dies, and it was like it was like amazing. It was very good storytelling. I was shocked, right? And then you get to the end, and then when you watch the last cutscene, it bugs out and says you failed the mission.
Oh shit!
And then makes you start all over again. And then you get stuck in this loop where you gotta do the final part of the mission again, only to watch the cutscene again, only for it to tell you failed the mission that you didn't fail again. And so like basically like they finally fixed that bug, but it was like that was annoying people. But no, that's all I've been playing, man. I know this was gonna be kind of a quicker show because Forte's gotta go do this midnight launch for this crappy Zelda game. So
Great game.
we're gonna get up out of here as quickly as we can.
Wait,
you guys a quality show at the same time, huh?
You can't be hating, man. You can't be hating like that. I don't know why you feel the way you feel. Zelda ain't did nothing to you.
Hating? How am I hating?
Zelda ain't did nothing to you. Just know that.
I'm not saying that it had to do anything to me. All I'm saying is that it kind of sucks. That's all,
Didn't even play it.
I'm joking. I'm just trying to
sure
mess
you
with
are.
y'all, man. I'm just trying to
now,
mess with y'all.
You know what? Guess what? Now we gonna get people coming back to this podcast like, yeah, these people over here in these podcasts be up here talking about how games suck and didn't even play it.
Oh my gosh. I agree. That's terrible. No one should do that. That said, I hate Zelda. So let me just go move on.
We just go move on.
Let's hit this first topic. So
let's hit it.
Plague Tale Requiem has finally got a performance mode. Shocker, right? This is like that came out last November.
Sure did, and okay. I'll finally play it now.
So you've been waiting, but you could have played it on PC.
Yeah, I could have, but I don't know. Sometimes I forget that Game Pass is on PC because
how
because I don't interact. PC. Well, because I don't really interact with Game Pass as much. Unless it's like the really big games, like I play Hi-Fi. I think the last game I played on PC for Game Pass was Hi-Fi Rush. Yeah, it was Hi-Fi Rush. Oh, and I download. Oh, I take it back. Redfall. Mm-hmm. That's a sore spot though.
Well, anyway, so finally got performance mode. It's I don't know if it's quite out yet or if it's about to be out because I haven't seen anyone out here like I haven't seen Digital Foundry or anyone like that. Actually though, it is live. It is live right now. Okay, cool. I haven't seen anyone come out and test it and say, does it really stick to 60 on Series X and PS5 or whatever. And apparently it's got some additional graphical options on PC. The only real graphical option they really need to put on PC is optimizing it for a PC. PC. Stop. Anyway, no, but I mean, like I actually when I played it, and I didn't really have is the kind of problems other people have with this game. Like it ran fine for me. My issue was just that I don't know if my Hugo is barely in this. Well, in the beginning, like in maybe the first like 3 or 4 hours, he's barely in it. He's kind of sick, so it's just really just Alicia and this little like mage guy that's rolling with you guys. That's like he's way too smart. Oh yeah, their game engine is amazing. I kind of
buy them Microsoft.
I didn't enjoy what I was playing as much as I did Innocence, the first one. And I haven't been able to put my finger on what I didn't like. Maybe the actual gameplay didn't improve enough from the first game. She still kind of relies on her slingshot and little things like that, and slinging rocks into people's forehead and kind of stuff. And it's just like that made a lot of sense to me when she was a young girl who hadn't been trained how to fight, and she's dealing with soldiers, she's trying to protect her brother. In Innocence, it seemed way more realistic to me. But then it just seems like in Requiem, it's like, yo, you like straight mass murdering people with a slingshot. It just doesn't, like, how you taking on the whole brigades and massacring the whole brigades, and they know you. They like, it's her, she's here, that kind of stuff. Like almost like you Nathan Drake out here, but you like French little girl Nathan Drake. Like I don't know. It just didn't vibe with me. So
I mean, she's Natalie Portman.
Nah, she's way more dangerous. You play the game.
I was saying,
play the game.
She looks like,
and she got kind of like this bloodlust thing going on too. This just like, I'm like, what's wrong with you, girl? You're like, you a little crazy. But it ain't for me. It's not. I think it's either it's not for me or it's just I wasn't in a place when it came out where I could play something like that and enjoy it. Like I needed to play something else. And sometimes it's like that. Sometimes
right.
But so honestly, let me just keep it the buck, yo. You ain't gonna play this game.
Probably not.
No, you're not. It's this 60 FPS patch is coming at an awful time. The game has been out for 7 months. Tears of the Kingdom is coming out. Diablo 4 is about to come out. Final Fantasy 16 is about to come out. Who's gonna go back and play A Plague Tale Requiem now that it's got at a frame rate that they want? Not too many people. Which kind of makes me kind of feel like, not to beat a dead horse, but Redfall. Who's gonna go play Redfall when that performance mode finally hits? I mean, nobody is, man. Like you miss your moment. It's unfortunate.
Redfall's moment was missed the moment that they let IGN showcase the game.
I couldn't hear you say again.
I said Redfall's moment was missed when IGN showcased the game for the first time. And then it was just downhill from there.
Oh man.
Unfortunate, but man, it's unfortunate.
Yeah. Deli, I need you to recommend me a motherboard, okay? Send me a DM, Deli, of a motherboard that is for
That does not start with an A and end with an S.
that is compatible with LSA 1700. That's what I'm looking for. Move on though.
MSI motherboards for life.
The Division Heartland is got a beta that's coming out, and
you gonna play it with me?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
I'll play it with you.
It's not, if you're thinking it's going to be like the Division, straight like the Division, it's not. Like I told you, I've played the technical test and I've played the beta. It plays like Escape from Tarkov or Call of Duty's DMZ. So if you like Call of Duty's DMZ, which
DMZ was fun.
Yeah, then you'll probably like Division Heartland. It's literally the same thing. It doesn't even play like the Division as far as like having your skills and your talents and gear sets that like work. That it's not even like that. Like it's very much a different kind of game. And I've said it before, it's Escape from Tarkov with a Division skin. Which is the gameplay I'm showing now is just gameplay from the Division 2. But that's got a beta that is coming soon. People can sign up for the beta. I do believe I already have access because I've already been in the beta. So, but I still think that my theory that this is coming out this summer is still true. It would make a lot of sense. And we'll know that for certain soon if they go after this closed beta into an open beta. Then like it's within like a couple of months that it's going to come out. But you say you're into it? You gonna play it with me?
Hey, I'm into it. I mean, but do we think that this is this enough to get like the ball rolling and start bringing people back, or is it going to take Division 3 basically to do that?
It's going to take Division 3 to do that because this isn't what there's no like. Okay, so there's a loot aspect to this, but like, and I guess you could kind of say the Division kind of helped pioneer these kind of games with the Dark Zone, where you could like go in and you would like find loot in the Dark Zone, and then you had to figure a way to get that loot out without getting killed and having it taken from you. And these kind of games do that too, but the added danger is that the loot that you wore when you went in can be taken from you too. So it's like there's that added stress and risk there as well. And I think that kind of is like, for people who like the Division Dark Zone, they would love this. For people who played the Division just for the PvE aspect, just for the build craft and looting and creating certain kinds of builds that are super OP. Like I got this sniper build where like I'm doing like 17 million a bullet. Like those kind of people, ain't nobody trying to be min-maxing gear for somebody to snatch it off your dead body as soon as you go into the map, right?
Right.
Thanks. This looks great, just snatching it off you. But I mean, like it'll have its place, but it's not going to satisfy all Division players. And it's not no surprise to me that Red Storm, the developer, Red Storm is working on Heartland, because Red Storm did all the work for the Division's Dark Zone. So it's no surprise that they're very PvE VP. Did I say that right? PvPvE. There we go. Focused. So, but it's I don't think they can really satisfy the Division community until they get a Division 3 out there.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking at this point.
Moving on, though, we're gonna blaze right through the topic.
Let's see.
Moving on.
This is shade. This is shade, but we all know what's gonna happen in the next 24 hours.
This is not shade.
This is shade, but go ahead.
How is this? This is not shade. I'm not shading them. This is it's just look this came out. People were talking about it. Okay.
Yeah. It didn't. The hardware sales are going to be up in the next 24
Look,
hours.
don't work. Look, so this is what's going on. So
Go
Nintendo has revised their revised forecast. They think now that over the next fiscal year they're probably going to sell 15 million Nintendo Switches, and it's down from their previous projections, and they don't think that the Switch is going to ever be able year over year keep up with where they were selling the systems last year and the year before.
Heck no.
It's at the end of its life cycle, right?
In what world did they think that was going to continue to happen?
I don't think they really did. I don't really think they thought it was going to continue to happen, but I do think that like they felt that look, I think they are very happy with where the Nintendo Switch is and how it's sold. They kind of felt that they thought that they would get to this point a while ago, a few years ago, because they actually had plans for new hardware to come out, and then they kind of put those on hold because it was like they'd be actually kind of cannibalizing their own sales, considering how well that the really outdated, obsolete hardware was doing. That said, they do not have plans to drop any new hardware in the next fiscal year, which means that don't expect to see a Switch Pro or a Switch 2 or whatever new Nintendo platform they're working on before the fiscal year of ends in 2024. So look like this time next year, like springtime or summer, like there still won't be new hardware out. That doesn't rule out them potentially dropping something or like holiday 2024 or early 2025. But that's the case that we have here. Forse, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that if they revise to 15 million, that means they're going to be by the end of their fiscal year. That means they'll be close to like 140 million consoles, which is problematic to them. I think beating Sony's #1 all-time sales, especially if they're going to come out with a completely new system at some point next year.
Well, yeah, I guess if they hit, if they hit their numbers, if they hit the 15 million, they'll be at 140 million.
Like 140 million because they're at 125 right now. Well, last report 125. So, I think in general it's about time. Let's be for real. This system has been on life support since basically 2017 because I mean it was a novelty just for the simple fact because it was something new and it was a proper console that you could play on the go when it comes to the games that was available on it. Nintendo did an amazing job in getting third parties to actually want to come over, but I also think that had a lot to do with the fact that, listen, man, the system sold like crazy. And I think it was like the only publisher that really didn't take advantage of the Switch was EA when it comes to like some of their bigger titles like Madden and stuff. They brung FIFA and stuff like that over, but they never brung Madden. NBA was actually on there from 2K. So they got a lot of good third-party support on that system. But it's about time for them to kind of hit the reset button and bring something else out. It's those rumors can't be fake. They had to be real.
No, they were definitely real. I mean,
they had to be real.
Like there were news sources out here. Yeah, there were news sources out here that had seen documentation that was proof that it was real, despite Nintendo's repeated denials that any of it was true. I mean, we all know it was true, like that they were going to, but but then it also makes complete sense why they chose not to go forward with it because, hey, look, we're outselling the competition, very.
That's
easily.
all that matters,
and we're making a ton of money. Why shorten the amount of money we're making per unit sold by releasing a new unit and cutting into that? Like, it doesn't make sense,
Nope, you're absolutely right.
Shout out to Ramon Terrell with the 550 Canadian. Says, up to the homies. All I need is vegan sour cream and cheese to fire up this potato.
Oh man,
the tears of the kingdom.
Everybody
Let's
hungry
go
out here. Hey, Chad, that's what I'm talking about, man. Are you playing tonight on your Switch? Or did you do a digital copy? You going to a midnight, or you just gonna pick it up tomorrow? You know, let us know in the chat. Everybody that's picking up Zelda, how are you playing it? Digital, getting it tomorrow, or are you going out to a midnight launch to get it? Really want to hear what you guys got to say.
So, real quick, a couple questions before we move on to the next topic.
Yeah.
Forte, when do you think the new Nintendo platform will be released?
2025.
2025, like early, late?
Early, I think March.
March, okay.
March, April.
Is it going to be a Switch Pro? Are they going to use the name Switch at all? Is it going to be continue to be a hybrid? What do you think? Is it going to be?
Oh, it's still going to be. I think it's going to be. I think they're done with just traditional consoles at this point. I do think it's still going to be a hybrid, because I do think that Nintendo understands that it's not that people love their consoles, they love the portability of their console. That's why the 3DS, the DS, the DSi, all of the 2DS, that's why all those systems did so well, because of the portability. And I don't see them going back from that. So I do think, if they were smart, they would just call it Switch Pro. Because I think if you try to change the name of it.
What about Switch Ultimate?
No, that's
Switch
Xbox
Ultra.
That's something Xbox would do too.
The Super Switch.
Oh my god!
They did the Super Nintendo. They had the Nintendo Entertainment System. Then they did Super Nintendo Entertainment System, which is my favorite console of all time. And hey, I'm saying, why not just go, hey, Super Nintendo Switch?
I mean, they could. I mean, it'll be on brand for them.
Just as long as they don't go call it Switch U. Just don't make that dumb decision again.
Yeah. I'm
Switch
more worried about. The funny thing is, I'm more worried about Nintendo's naming conventions than I am others. So, because I do think the Wii U would have did way significantly better if they would have actually named it correct.
Yeah, the majority of people didn't realize it was.
They thought it was an add-on.
They thought it was an add-on, right. And I don't need a Switch U. I don't need a Wii U. I got a Wii.
I got a Wii.
It's not a Wii. It's not an add-on. It's crazy.
It's an actual brand new system, but
right. All right. I mean, look, Switch sells down. Do you think
they did
that
make a Nintendo Switch Lite that didn't switch?
True.
Which is really funny when you think about it.
The unswitch.
It's the unswitch, right?
The unswitcher.
Yeah.
All right. I guess we can get into this. Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom gets critical praise from every corner of the internet. Everyone loves it. People are naming their children Link and Zelda at the same time. People are loving it. People are saying that it changed their life. It made them more creative. People are saying that it cured their addiction to cocaine as well as other various substances. Apparently it's everything. So
hey, I told people when we said, we gave our mock review and said, what is the Metacritic gonna come in? I said probably a 97. It's 96 right now.
Yeah, the last time I talked to you, I told you it was going to be a 97. It dropped down. It initially started at 97, then dropped to a 96. I don't think it's going to get any lower. Probably would either stay at 96 or maybe go back up to a 97 once the straggler reviews come through. But I mean, is anyone here shocked? No.
I
not
did say
even a little bit.
I did say that IGN was going to give it a 10, though. I said it on Addict Show. I said, yeah, IGN probably going to give it a 10.
Now, I already know what you think. Is it deserving of all the praise? I'm pretty sure you're going to say yes, but...
you never know.
Okay, is it deserving of all the praise?
Yes.
You jerk.
No. It is definitely okay. Put it this way: it is deserving of all the praise for a different reason. It's not deserving of the praise just because it's another Zelda game that's in the world of Breath of the Wild. I feel like it deserves it because Nintendo actually did something that people wanted them to do, which is add more things to the freaking game that actually make the game better. Like the fact that no one liked durability. Nobody on the face of earth liked durability. They said, well, I guess what? They said, well, we're going to keep durability in there, but we're going to give you a way of customizing your weapons to make durability not seem so drastically bad. And I think they achieved that with the crafting system. People didn't like climbing and stamina bars. Well, we're not going to take stamina out the game, but we're going to add this really cool feature called Ascension. As long as you can walk in somewhere and there's a roof above it or a cliff above it, you can teleport and go through matter and whatever you want to do. And I felt like that was another good move because that was something that was a pain point for a lot of people. And then the open world, it was empty. Now it seems like everywhere you go, there's something you can do and there's somewhere you can fight and something you can see. And the fact that they added more transversive options into the game by being able to craft vehicles and transportation and stuff, all the things that people really, really hated, but just dealt with in Breath of the Wild because it was such a game changer for Zelda. And I will say this, it wasn't the first game to have this open world concept. I mean, there's been open world games.
I'm glad you're able to admit that. We got people out here acting like Zelda was the first open world game.
No, ever. I'll never do that. It was just it was something just that Zelda was able to do it. And no one expected Zelda because no one ever, when you think of Zelda, you're thinking top down or third person, and more of a linear style where Breath of the Wild was truly open. And no one really expected that. So I do give them I think that's what it was, just different. Just like how God of War was. God of War was something completely different. They changed the narrative in 2018. And it made it be something it wasn't before. And I think it was the breath of fresh air that Zelda needed. But those are the things that I think they did in order to make this game really stand out from itself. But the number one thing they did, Slow-Mo, which is a sin that they didn't even have in the first one. And that's why I didn't even believe the first one deserved to be a 10 out of 10. I felt like the first one probably could have still been a 9. I still think it should have been a 9, but not like perfect 10s and 9.7. Because they didn't have dungeons. There was no dungeons in the first one. And that's what a Zelda game is made for. And I told people for the last year and a half, 2 years, ever since they announced this game was a thing, I said, if they fix the open world, they fix durability, they fix transportation, and they give you dungeons, then Nintendo, they answered every question you have. So I feel like this 9.7 out of a 10 or 9.6 out of 10 is way far more deserving than the original one got when it first came out. The first one got it just because it did something that no one expected. This one is doing something different. Yeah, go ahead.
Is Tears of the Kingdom going to sell Nintendo Switches?
Yes.
Okay. So you could say it's a system seller game.
Absolutely.
So, is Nintendo the only platform that can make games that sell systems? What do you think?
No, they are not. There's other platforms that can do it too.
Oh, let's name some. Like who?
PlayStation.
PlayStation. Okay, I can see that. God of War Ragnarok.
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man 2 is going to sell a ton of systems this holiday.
Horizon Forbidden West did too.
Yeah, hey, Horizon did too.
Spider-Man Miles Morales sold systems.
Mm-hmm. As I said, Spider-Man 2 is going to do the same thing.
Wolverine will too.
Wolverine's going to kill it when it comes out. I can't wait to see what Insomniac does with that, because it's definitely going to be a very different bag for them and a different kind of game than what they've done in the past. But who else do you think could make games that would sell units? Who else could do that?
Well, there's a big 3 in the video game industry. And one starts with an N, is Nintendo. Another one starts with an S, is called Sony.
Right.
The other one starts with an M, and it's by Microsoft.
What?
And they own the Xbox brand.
What?
Yes.
There's an Xbox.
Because guess what? They actually
do they have their hold on. Do they have their equivalent of Tears of the Kingdom.
Do they have the equivalent?
So when I say equivalent,
they do.
like Tears of the Kingdom is selling Switches, and then God of War sold PlayStations, and Spider-Man gonna sell more PlayStations. So what's selling Xboxes?
Game Pass is selling Xboxes now.
But that's not a game.
It's not a game. But you talk about what game is going to sell Xboxes?
Yeah, because you need
hopefully
great games.
Starfield does.
Well, okay, yeah, there we go. Hopefully Starfield.
Hopefully Starfield
would be
Starfield
that.
Well, Starfield should be that. It should be.
Okay.
That. It's not that it shouldn't be. Hopefully,
let's
it
put a
should
pin.
Be a system seller.
Let's put a pin in that conversation, because there's a topic later on that's going.
Okay.
We're going to restart that conversation back later on.
Go ahead.
Last question on this, and then we can move on. Is this? Can we call Game of the Year now? Can we just call?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like I said earlier.
We're a quarter way through the year, and unless Starfield does something incredible that no one saw in life, there's
or Spider-Man. Or Insomniac like reinvents the wheel with Spider-Man, which like I can't even really imagine.
The thing about Spider-Man is it still takes place in New York. It still takes place when you swinging through cities,
right?
So it's like
I really can't see them doing anything. The best improvements they could do for Spider-Man 2 is improve the boss fights. Yes. I think Miles Morales had better boss fights than Spider-Man 2018 did, but improve upon them. Maybe kind of add in some kind of not really co-op, because it's still gonna be a single player game, but like team up aspects between Peter and Miles. Now that Miles, who we're going back to Spider-Man, a focus on Peter Parker, but Miles has abilities now too, so he's like a mentor to him, and find some way to have side missions where Mary Jane, you're not just hiding with Mary Jane, but you're actually doing things with Miles. They gotta figure some way to kind of do that, but also improve upon the combat. I do think it's possible, but it's difficult when you've already kind of hit a high bar, and there's only so much you can do with an IP that's not quite your own. They couldn't just start giving Peter fantastic abilities that Miles has. Miles has those abilities, Peter doesn't. They can't just start giving him lightning fingers or some crap. It's just, you can't do that. So you gotta find a way.
My biggest thing was with Spider-Man, because Spider-Man could be that if it found a way to do something different. But I look at Spider-Man 2 as I look at Spider-Man 2 as to what how God of War was. God of War Ragnarok is a technical it's a better game technically than 2018, because they refined everything from God of War 2018. But I'll be the first one to tell you, being a huge God of War fan, that I feel like 2018 was still the better game. I think 2018 did something that all the things that they did in 2018, they just refined in 2023 or 2022 when it came out, and they just gave you more of it. And I think the biggest changes they made in Ragnarok was the ability to have, not the ability, but the diversity in enemies and puzzles and stuff like that. I think that was the biggest change. And then the fact that it was just a bigger game, but they gave you more of what you got in 2018, which is more enemy diversity, which is the thing that most people wanted. But that's kind of where I see Spider-Man at. It's like they already did Spider-Man, then they did Miles Morales. So the logical thing is they're going to merge those games together into something that, if they merge those games together, it could theoretically be something better than what we got in the first two. But
I think their best bet is to knock us out, knock our socks off with the narrative and the storytelling. I think that's probably the best bet.
And if they did that, and I think that's what it is, because you really don't play Spider-Man for the narrative. You kind of play it for just the experience of feeling like you're Spider-Man. And I kind of think that's the same thing what's going to happen with Wolverine, and Wolverine has a even more story implications into it, and I think that game has an even better chance of topping the Game of the Year charge just because of that.
But also, they have a lot more that's different. Like they can't use their typical like tools they already have built already that they retooled for Spider-Man, but it's things that they had already created for Sunset Overdrive and Ratchet and Clank and whatever. Like they can't do that in Wolverine because Wolverine isn't a very vertical. That shouldn't be a very like vertical game. Like we should be seeing Wolverine like jumping from rooftop to rooftop. Like nah, that's not Wolverine. It should be way more grounded, way more focused, smaller areas, which which allow them to really kind of shine and showing detail and more detail in those smaller areas because they don't have to worry about this big massive map to render and all the memory that's going to get used in that. But it needs to be visceral, it needs to be bloody, it needs to be like body parts, limbs cut, flying everywhere. It needs to be brutal and make you go, damn, every time you dispatch an enemy or a ninja or some random soldier, some unfortunate soldier that ran into Wolverine. It needs to have some kind of way of incorporating this mutant healing factor where you're literally taking like buckets and buckets of damage, but you have to manage it because it can overwhelm you and you lose, but you know that the healing factor is kind of like bringing your health back up. Like it has to be a way of making it so that you don't need to render a huge open world, but you can add all this extra detail into his character model, like his flesh getting ripped off and seeing the adamantium bones. That kind of stuff is what I want to expect to see. I hope to see. We'll see. I don't know. I know we went super off topic here. But
no. I mean, dude, Zelda. I mean, it's going to be the talk of the town, so we definitely get the people what they want.
Right. Let's talk about since we're on the topic of Sony and their games.
Yeah.
Let's discuss some really unfortunate news.
I know this is super sad.
So, creator of Concrete Genie, PixelOpus, is being shut down. And they will officially close doors June, I think June 1st. But PixelOpus only made 2 games. I can't remember the first game they made, but I do know their last game was Concrete Genie. I never played it. It really wasn't my bag, but I do know people that we cool with all day. Shout out to All Day has always said the game was really good. But this is one of those little small studios that Sony Interactive Entertainment has, PlayStation Studios had, and we've always heard that when it comes to being a part of PlayStation Studios, that you gotta put up or shut up. Sony has closed more studios than Xbox has over the past decade, easily. And I recall a developer who used to work at a PlayStation studio in Europe talking about how every year, like those annual reviews are very stressful because if you weren't hitting your benchmarks with the games, if your games didn't perform,
that other game is Entwined.
Okay, thanks. It was very, very much a chance that your studios will get shut down. And so, for apparently, what happened with PixelOpus is that they were working with Sony Pictures, partnering with Sony Pictures on the game, and I guess the prototype that they had showed to the leadership wasn't impressive, and they didn't believe in the project. Studio gets shut down. The PixelOpus was only about 20 developers. And I've seen a lot of people kind of like weaponizing. I kind of hate when stuff like this happens, when people weaponize the studio closing to, oh well, look, like making it a console war thing. I hate it.
Sony made the decision to close this studio because they weren't living up to the PlayStation branding and all that other stuff.
Yeah, it happens on both sides, and it's just like, well, I cared more about it, and I said this on Twitter. I was like, I just kind of hope that those 20 developers have found a home somewhere else at PlayStation Studios. The team is only a team of 20. I mean, like they could be working at and they're based in California, although maybe not necessarily a city that's like close to Santa Monica or any of the other areas where some of the other studios are working, but maybe find a way to get these talented people working in other places where they're not just looking for a job. That's what I was kind of hoping. And that's always kind of my hope when developers get studios get shut down. I kind of felt the same about Sony Japan when that got shut down a year or two ago. But yeah, overall, what are your thoughts about PixelOpus going to the dustbin?
Yeah, I played Country Geek. I never beat it. It was a really really fun side scroller. Really did enjoy the little time. It was I think I got it because it was a PlayStation Plus game at that point, and I downloaded it and tried it. So yeah, definitely really fun. I know a lot of people that really love. Shout out to Jack Blue Johnny. I know he really loved that game. That's when everybody was like, Jack Blue only plays indie games and stuff like that. But the one thing about games that the game like that game in particular, it was like an indie game with that. Well, not it was like a smaller game because like you can't call them indie because they were owned by Sony, owned by a
Yeah,
bigger publisher.
yeah, and it's a smaller project game, but
Yeah,
not like
it was a
it's not
smaller
indie.
project that
Yeah.
was fun by them, but you could definitely see that they put a lot of love and attention, especially into that game. I never played the first one, Untwined, but playing that one, I like the art style, the colorful vibe, and everything that game have. But just like you, when I saw it, I was like, man, that sucks. It is a very small team, so it wouldn't be really hard to like merge them or you know pull those people into different studios inside of PlayStation. Some can end up over at Insomniac. I also think that like this could have just happened just because, like they said, the idea that they had wasn't the greatest, but they also might have been working. Some of these people might have been working at other studios already. I mean, we already hear stories of even if they're working at one studio, if that studio is working on a project that they're not needed on at that time, they'll probably go to another studio, help out with some stuff over there, just because you still want to pay people. So if you're going to pay them, you want to pay them to be working on the projects, and that's the one thing that Sony does. They don't really do a lot of contract working compared to what Microsoft does. So they have a lot of developers that they could just share between studios to actually help with tasks and jobs that need to be done, and that's why you see a lot of movement inside of their in-house studios and stuff. So I do think these people are going to find a place, and that's if they want to stay here, because if you look at their tweet on the website, or not on their tweet on the website, but their tweet from the matter where they were talking about that their journey has come to an end, but it won't be the end of the game, the heartfelt games and stuff that they make. So it definitely gives you the idea that they will fall on their feet somewhere, or the majority of them will. I just wish the best to them. And when you see stuff like this happen, you don't want to see it happen. But we also know that better games come from things like this, because when one studio says,
I
we
mean,
don't like
does
what you
it
did.
though? I mean, look, like I
Not
mean,
all the
we've
time, but
seen
not all the
studio
time.
closings, and it doesn't always mean that there is a replacement
Not for the studio. I'm
of
just
the
talking about for the
product.
people.
Well, I mean, for the people, yeah, for the people, maybe that they can definitely find some place
Yeah,
to
no,
stay, which is
you're not
great.
going to
Like,
probably
that's what I'm
get.
hoping
Oh
for,
yeah,
right? But
yeah, you're
as
not going to
far
get it
as
replaced with other product. No.
but that's kind of what my concern is. I'm not too. I am concerned to make sure that the 20 devs that you know studio got closed down find other places to work. I mean, I am concerned about that. I'm also concerned that potentially that the kind of creativity, even though it wasn't for me, Concrete Genie wasn't for me, but like that kind of creativity that got greenlit, that this new regime of Jim Ryan's PlayStation Studios regime and Herman Host aren't like, well, that's not going to sell. Well, that's not a live service. Like,
Yeah, that's where we're heading.
I don't want that to be the PlayStation Studios that turns out to be, who they are years from now, and we don't see games that are creative like this anymore. Now, maybe like the next creative game they allow to be made and gets made becomes a massive commercial success. You don't know, or maybe
Yeah.
PixelOpus could have made a pivot kind of like, and then did something similar to Ember Labs, where
Mhm.
Ember Labs, great animation. I would say better animation than what we're seeing with Concrete Genie, but also good, very good gameplay and a great first game for a brand new studio. You just never know what might be in store, right? So I just kind of hope that like that kind of creativity that was kind of cultivated with Sean Layden and Shuhei isn't getting lost with
Right.
PlayStation Studios in the future. That's all.
Well, that's it. I mean, a lot of people have been saying that for a while. No one
Ooh,
really knows
hold up now,
why.
hold up. Is that
Oh, go ahead.
B knowing stuff 101 in the chat?
Oh, be knowing.
Is that B knowing stuff? Said they got a 3-game deal with Ember Labs.
Oh Lord, here we go.
Interesting.
Maybe yeah.
And he says, "What if they repurpose the studio similar to what they did with Japan Studio, the team
With
with
Japan
Sobo?"
Studios
Well,
and,
which is
tied them into
I
a
hope
Sobo.
is what happened. Like, it's only 20 devs. Like, find a place for these 20 devs to work, with someone else, incorporate them or assimilate them into another studio or whatever. But a 3-game deal with Ember Labs, imagine as they get more proficient and more experienced in game development, coming off of their pivot from animation studio, imagine what kind of work they could be doing by game 3. I think that's I think if Sony is smart, they will go ahead and lock that up before it gets to that 3-game contract ends, because I don't know that studio. You would think you would hope it won't end the way their relationship ended with Quantic Dream, because they had a 3-game deal with Quantic Dream, but by the end of that 3-game deal, they didn't want to have a relationship with Quantic Dream anymore due to all the allegations.
With each other no more.
Right, neither one of them wanted to be working with each other anymore. So you kind of just hope it doesn't end like that. But but we'll definitely have to see. Let's move on to our final topic, and I guess this is the juicy one, right? Right.
Ooh.
So
Starfield.
Starfield. Earlier we were talking about how about system seller games, and maybe Starfield is that system seller game for Xbox.
Right.
Can Starfield live up to these very lofty expectations? What are your thoughts on that, Forte?
Well, living up to the let's put on our
Uh-oh. Let me tell you what I think, Slow-Mo. What is this? What is happening here? I'm afraid.
I'm afraid. Oh man. So slow-mo.
What was that? Like, you would explain what the heck you were doing?
What was what?
What is, I don't know what's happening right now. Like,
well, slow-mo, just to let you know, how I feel about Starfield is that's a voice changer, sir. That's all it is. Slow-mo, the Starfield stuff. I feel like Starfield has a lot of expectations put on itself, mostly due to gamers and what their expectations are at this point. But I also think that it's a huge spotlight put on the game due to the failures of what Microsoft has done and Xbox has done over the course of the last couple of not just months, but pretty much the last couple of years. They haven't lived up to the consistent billing of AAA offerings. Yes, there have been some AAA games that have come out that have done well, but nothing like what people were kind of promised. And especially when we're going into the third to fourth year of the generation, whereas 60 frames per second was the moniker, great games, play your next great game was one of the slogans they had at E3 at one of their showcases. And yeah, Game Pass is definitely the catalyst for that. but I think Starfield, rightfully so, is going to catch a lot of strays due to the simple fact that Microsoft hasn't handled its business correctly when it comes to giving people stuff to play on a consistent basis. So now when Starfield comes out, people are going to be hungry. They're going to be starving. They haven't played an amazing, great game in so long. They're going to be like, it's like that piece of chicken or that steak that you haven't had in like 7 months. You forgot how good that steak was because you haven't had it in so long. And then all of a sudden you eat it and it's the best thing you ever had. And you're like, man, I had good steaks before. Why does this one taste so good? Because all the steaks you had up to that point were trash. At least for a while at this point. So yes, I do think there is a lot of pressure going to be put on it. But I also think it's Microsoft's responsibility and Xbox's responsibility because there's nothing they can do about it now because, I mean, for the most part, there's nothing they can do about it now. But I do think the one thing they can do to help alleviate some of the pressure that's put on Starfield is by knocking the showcase out of this world. And when I mean knocking it out the world, out of space itself, they have to show you everything. They have to show you gameplay of what Fable's going to be. They have to show you what Contraband's going to be. They have to show you release dates of games like Avowed and show you what that's going to look like. They need to have proof of concept for these games. They need to show you what Hellblade combat looks like. They can't just go up there and give you another CGI trailer or some or another another narrative story. They have to show you what these games are at this point. Something they should have been doing for a long time now. Because the way I look at it, by the time we get to September, when Starfield comes out, if they haven't done that, then all eyes are going to just be sitting on Starfield because in people's minds, there's nothing else for them to look forward to. Because that's the biggest thing. You have to give people something to look forward to because if one game just happens to kind of fall by the wayside, it wouldn't be as magnified. Like Redfall is catching such crazy opinions right now because it's the first game in a long list of games that Microsoft was supposed to come out with that everybody thought was going to be the beginning of the new Xbox. And it wasn't because it's the same Xbox. So is Starfield going to be that? Well, we have to wait till the game comes out. But what they can do until that point happens is show you games that kind of make you at least forget about Starfield for at least a week, maybe 2 weeks, and talk about other things that's not Starfield. Personally, I'm tired of going into everybody's podcast and it's like, oh, new Starfield details, new Starfield this, new Starfield that. Oh, let's talk about Starfield leaks. I'm tired of hearing about that stuff because at this point, I don't even know what we kind of got an idea of what the game's about, but we haven't really seen enough of it, and we know when we're gonna see it, but I'm kind of fatigued on it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the biggest thing for me. So I need Microsoft to do something or Xbox to do something to kind of change the narrative, give us something else to talk about. And no, not ABK. I don't want to hear about that no more either. I need to hear about what games you have that you've been working on since 2017, 2018. And I don't want to see trailers. I want to see actual gameplay of this stuff because that's what's going to help Starfield in the long run, because then people are going to be more focused on other games, and then when Starfield comes out they can just treat it like a normal game because they'll say, hey, Starfield's coming out, dog, this game is super cool, I really like it. They're not going to be focused on, is this going to be the last time I eat for the next 6 months? Because that's kind of what it is right now, Slow-Mo, unfortunately.
Yeah. Now, I'm seeing some really interesting chatter in the chat right now, and I'm trying to understand the point of view. People are I guess, calling this topic concern trolling. I don't know. Did Phil Spencer seem concerned about his brand when he did an interview last week with Kinda Funny?
Didn't that man? Didn't he say if we don't turn this around, that we may be talking to somebody else different?
Oh, okay, yeah. So was Phil Spencer concerned trolling?
I
don't know.
Very,
I've been hearing in the chat, we shouldn't discuss this if you're not a Bethesda fan. I'm sorry, is Bethesda a independent third party publisher? No.
Or is it part of Microsoft?
It's a part of Microsoft, and the part of this discussion is that out of the big three that make consoles, only one of them doesn't have a system seller game. And I'm sorry if this hurts some people's feelings. Yes, I do know that Microsoft has made good games. Yes, I remember they won Publisher of the Year in 2021. Y'all won't let me forget. Yes, I remember Hi-Fi Rush was a good game. Some of y'all didn't even finish it, but whatever, right? But regardless of that, having good games is different than having great games.
Yes.
Having a good remaster is different than having a great new IP.
Yep.
Having a game that people say not, and this is where I would still disagree with Phil Spencer, not I'm going to sell my PlayStation 5 to play this, but I'm going to keep my PlayStation, but I'm also going to buy me an Xbox because I got to play that. Now, us discussing Starfield is because Starfield is a big game from a big publisher, from a big producer that everyone knows, Todd Howard, that has been financially backed by a big platform that still needs a big system seller game. So if you can't take this kind of discussion without throwing out strawman arguments, without throwing out really poorly constructed defenses and damage control, trying to diffuse the situation by saying automatically, well, you can't talk about this because you're a PC guy, or you can't talk about this because you've never really liked Bethesda games. I don't need to like Bethesda games for me to acknowledge that this could be a system seller for them. To me to acknowledge that if it did turn out to be 11 out of 10, like Phil Spencer says it could be, that it would do more than for the Xbox on console than what Phil Spencer thinks it could do. I believe that.
Yeah.
So I can't have that conversation because I'm not an Xbox guy. I'm not a Bethesda fan. This is the ridiculous narratives that people come up with to justify their fanboyism, to justify like the weird thoughts they have in their brains where they say, oh, well, you know, this is how I can compartmentalize my justifications for certain things and ignore any kind of argument that I don't like. I hadn't even said a word yet, but I was already told you should. Don't you think everything trash? Don't you not like Bethesda games?
Yeah.
The difference here is that I am the kind of person that even if I don't like a game, I can still acknowledge that game as quality, which is what I said about Tears of the Kingdom. I acknowledge that it's a quality game. It ain't for me. I don't like Zelda. I think there are people who can't make those distinctions, and so they take their inability to make those distinctions and they place that upon everyone else. Well, if I don't like it, it must be trash.
Yeah.
You know, and I didn't like Hi-Fi Rush like that, but I acknowledge it's a quality game. Do people forget that? I guess they do.
Mm-hmm.
No, and then they say, well, how do I feel about Death Stranding? I do think Death Stranding is trash. I do think that's a bad game. But that's Death Stranding isn't Starfield, isn't Hi-Fi Rush, isn't, you can't use that at one game and say, well, this is how you feel about all games.
Right.
You see, that's really bad reasoning. Terrible reasoning. See, like this is what we're talking about. People don't want you to have the conversation because they don't want to acknowledge the things that have to come with the conversation. The Xbox does not have a system seller. That Phil Spencer has, as running Xbox, has never had a system seller game while he was running the platform. Now that's different than Xbox as a whole. When Peter Moore was around, it was different. Xbox as a whole has had system sellers. They've had Halo Combat Evolved, the Gears of War series. those games, when those games are out, people, I gotta play this. I gotta play Halo.
Yeah.
Halo 2, people waiting in lines like they're going to be waiting in lines an hour from now for Tears of the Kingdom. People did that once upon a time for Halo 2.
It was even worse for Halo 3.
Right. Gears of War.
Oh man,
there's an entire mode. That mode, horde mode, an entire mode that people
made genres.
Revolutionary games. System
you think about
and,
that,
and it's not. It is not. Hold on, real quick. It is not just because they have their platform spread out all over everything. You can play it on mobile, xCloud, PC. Yeah. Of course, some people are going to play it on PC. Some people aren't going to buy an Xbox, of course, but they're going to feel that engagement. Starfield is the 11 out of 10 that it could be. They're going to feel that engagement all over everything. It still will result in more consoles being bought, because there are console gamers who just don't care about PC, and they want the console sit on my couch experience. They don't want to mess around with a PC. They don't want to go replace their CPU like I'm about to do. They don't want to deal with any of that stuff. But what they do want is great games. And unfortunately, when you drop a dud like Redfall, you don't have a system seller gotta have it kind of game. You put your brand in a situation where the next one up, there's more pressure on it than the other games. There's more pressure on Starfield than it is on Spider-Man 2 that's coming out like probably the same month or within a month. You know, there's more pressure on Starfield than Spider-Man, and everyone can see that. It's obvious. Forte, go ahead. My bad, I cut you off.
No, you're good, man. I was just gonna say, you know, that's kind of part of the reason why I don't put like all the blame, like, because Starfield is just the game. You know, Bethesda is the person that is the studio or the publisher that's making the game, but it's just a game. So the pressure of Xbox should not be on the shoulders of Starfield. Xbox has to shoulder that, you know, expectation, and they haven't done a great job of doing it. So that's why I find it very hard to like really come down and say like Starfield needs to save Xbox, because Xbox needs to save Xbox. Starfield just needs to be a cog in the wheel that helps Xbox get to where it needs to get to. Now, hopefully Starfield is the game that gets the ball rolling, because a lot of people were hoping that Redfall was going to be that game, and it wasn't. So now it's Starfield's turn. But Microsoft, like the number one, like the question he asked, will Starfield live up to the expectations? It depends on what your expectations are. Is your expectations that Starfield has got to be the 10 out of 10, the 11 out of 10 game that saves Xbox? Then it's never going to live up to that expectation, because that should never be the expectation. Those expectations are so out of bounds.
Why do you think it can never live up to that expectation? I mean, like, Tears of the Kingdom lives up to that expectation. God of War Ragnarok did.
No, Tears of the Kingdom lives up to the expectation because the expectations are different for Nintendo and they're different for PlayStation. Because guess what? They came out with games that made it feel different. Like, you had Horizon Forbidden West that came out that year. You had God of War Ragnarok that came out that year. The year that PlayStation 5 came out, you had Spider-Man Miles Morales, Demon's Souls remake. You had
I see what you're saying, but I think there's two different things. The pressure not being there for God of War Ragnarok does not take away from the fact that the game was considered to be so good that people bought PlayStations to play it. Like, that's two different things. Like, whether that pressure is there or not versus whether the game is worthy to live up to the pressure. But that's what I'm saying.
What is the expectation? Like, okay, so this is the question. What is your expectation of the game? Just for it to be a good game, or just to be a game that what is your expectation of Starfield? Because I can tell you what a lot of people's expectation of Starfield is. A lot of people's expectation is for the game to do something that most games can't do. Like Halo, put it this way.
Okay.
Halo is one of the very few games I can say in life that has lived up to an expectation that literally built the brand.
Mm-hmm.
That I don't, in Mario, because it carries Nintendo from generation to generation. Halo is still the main reason why Xbox is still Xbox. They haven't found anything outside of Halo to take the banner and move forward with it. Now, Sony has never really had a quote unquote mascot. They just had a whole bunch of different games that make the whole ecosystem great. And if you want to start saying games like, Horizon or Nathan Drake is probably the next closest thing, then you get to The Last of Us and stuff like that. If you want to say those more familiar, iconic characters, but those didn't build PlayStation. Xbox was built on Halo. So that's what I'm trying to say. That expectation, I think, will never happen again. I don't think anybody can live up to those type of expectations because those were once in a lifetime type experiences that I don't think you'll ever get again in a game that's going to make you feel that way. Mm-hmm. But I do think that Starfield has expectations to be just a great game, to be something that people wanted to be, not to be something that is completely stupid and dumb when it comes to like the narrative. I feel like the bugs are probably still going to be there, but can they at least be to a minimum, to the point where it doesn't break the immersion of the game and take me completely out of the sci-fi fantasy realistic world that they're bringing me into? That's what I expect out of Starfield, but that's not what a lot of other people expect out of it.
Can we acknowledge that that's not the reality though?
No, you're right.
Because even Todd Howard said he feels the pressure.
Yeah, he does.
And even Phil Spencer acknowledges that like Starfield's got a hit. And
why is that?
Because they don't have a game that makes people say, I need to buy an Xbox.
And that's all I am saying. If they would have had a game, all they need to do is have a game that makes somebody else want to buy the system. But guess what? Right now, it's Starfield or bust. It's like, what else do they have for the rest of this calendar year?
Here's a crazy thing, though.
Opportunity to make you want to buy a system. Some people would say Forza Motorsport, but Forza is already sold systems.
It's a racer. It's a race. Look,
but it's already sold systems for them already.
Racers aren't system sellers. I don't think they can be. I don't.
Gran Turismo did sell systems.
Not in today's climate. Not GT7. People didn't buy a PlayStation for GT7.
Well, some people did. They did. I mean, you're not talking about millions of systems and stuff like that.
No.
But but go ahead. I know what you're saying.
Yeah. So this is what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that, like, if it's not Starfield, then it's going to be Hellblade. Like, the pressure is going to remain there until you have a game that actually fits the mold. Like, Nintendo and Sony don't have that pressure anymore because they have delivered on that kind of game, and then over time they deliver on that kind of game again. And it's been a long time since Xbox has had that kind of game, but until they get one, there will always be that pressure of if you have a platform and you're lagging in third place behind your competition, and your competition has a level of quality of game that is a step higher than yours. Not saying that you have bad games all the time, but you have good games. You have some clunkers like Crackdown 3 and Redfall, right, but you don't have their upper level game that goes far beyond everything else that you have, that makes people just stop everything they're doing and say, how much is an Xbox? Because I gotta go play that. You don't have that game yet. Until they get that game, people are going to look at Starfield like that, even though the game began in development when it was just Bethesda and ZeniMax Media as an independent third-party publisher, and it wasn't designed from pre-production to be that kind of game. But unfortunately, you've been acquired, or maybe fortunately, because who knows whether Bethesda would have still been here or not based upon how people talked about their finances. But here you are, you've been acquired, you're a first party of a brand that doesn't have that kind of game that makes people go jump on the platform. Therefore, that pressure's there. And if they don't live up to it, there's going to be Hellblade 2. And if Hellblade 2 doesn't live up to it, then there's going to be Avowed, then there's going to be Fable. It's going to be every single first-party AAA game they drop until one of them actually lives up to the actual pressure.
And then guess what? And then the one after that will be the one that can at least take a breath and say, we could just be a game.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about. If Fable,
I agree.
If it's if Avowed turns out to be like the next, the next Skyrim, okay? Let's say Avowed is the next Skyrim, and literally everyone is like gaga for Cocoa Puffs for it, and they're buying Xboxes left and right. Everybody is Game Pass subscriptions on PC is booming. Everyone's loving it. Fable coming out next is like, whew.
We could just be a game.
We could just be a great Fable game now.
That's it. And that's
Compulsion's next game is whatever the heck that is. You know, Compulsion ain't never made a good game, but we were like, hey, look, we could just make a good game now. We could build upon this.
But guess what? If Compulsion happens to miss, it doesn't hurt as much because you already just had a great. Now, don't get me wrong. You don't want any AAA game to miss. But if you had like you say, if Starfield hits, then Avowed comes out next, and then that hits. And then you got Hellblade, and that hits. So that means your last 3 times that you took a swing at a Microsoft first-party title, you got good results out of it. So if, something like What's the Name doesn't hit, like, Compulsion's game, you'll be like, oh, okay, it was a cool experience. It then even the noise level of how people experience the game comes down. It goes from that was a trash game to oh, I enjoyed it. It was cool. It just wasn't for me. Just like Days Gone. Like Days Gone
or Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of Tsushima. 83 Metacritic. I thought the game was awesome, but there's some people who are like, it got some of that Ubisoft in it. It's like that Ubisoft open world, scattered a bunch of stuff in it. It's the story's cool. And the combat's cool, but it's not the best of the best.
The best, but guess what?
Right,
it wasn't horrible.
Right, but if they didn't have The Last of Us Part 2, what year did that come out? Hold on, Ghost of Tsushima came out the same year as Last of Us, or
I
remember
2019.
Well, 2018 was God of War, that one game of the year. Then you got Ghost of Tsushima, and then you got The Last of Us Part 2. People, Ghost of Tsushima could Sucker Punch just, hey, we just made a good game, and everyone likes our everyone likes our game. Hey, we decided to throw in multiplayer 6 months later for free. No one told us, hey, how dare you not tell us ahead of time that you were going to do multiplayer. No one, I was just pleasant surprise. Well, thank you. All right. We added some more DLC after the fact. Well, thank you. Okay, appreciate you. It's just it's a different vibe when the whole platform is doing good versus just one game is doing good, or a couple of games is doing good, and this is also why I think I'm gonna say this real quick, and then you can go.
No, go ahead.
This is also why I kind of feel like they should have just canceled Redfall, because the damage it did to the brand is far greater than any kind of kudos you got or thumbs up you got for actually fulfilling the expectations of the 12-month thing that you did last showcase. That hey, well, at least one of them came out in 12 months. Yeah, but we all know it shouldn't have came out in 12 months. It clearly was pushed out. It wasn't ready in any way, shape, or form, and the actual content itself wasn't that great to begin with. The damage that you do to your brand, would your competition have released that game? Probably not. So
probably wouldn't have.
So there's like a level of there's a level of quality, like at least a basement level of quality that you should expect. Like, I think the worst PlayStation game that I can think of in the past like 5 years is probably Days Gone. And that's like a 70 rated meta game. And that game is way better. I didn't even like Days Gone, and that game is way better than Redfall.
Yeah.
You know, like it's you gotta. I said the last 5 years. The Order came out like 11 years ago. Even the Order isn't as bad as Redfall. The Order is actually not that bad. I kind of the Order and some of those games. The Order, they came out around that time period. The Order, Rise Son of Rome, Quantum Break. Some of those games I think got rated way more harshly than they deserve to be. But whatever.
Right.
I know you gotta go soon, man.
No, you're good.
Any last thoughts before we?
No, I mean, listen, man. That last topic. You're right. That topic right there is it means a lot to a lot of people. And it's the funny thing. As much as I see a lot of people, even like on the PlayStation side, trolling, talking about how Starfield may not live up to expectations, I think it's just more. That's just the game. I think nobody really wants to see that game fail, because we want Microsoft and Xbox to be competitive, and the competitiveness just goes down and down and down every time they have a game that does not hit. So expectations are going to be very high on this game. So, and I think Starfield can live up to those expectations because, you know, Todd Howard, you know, when it comes to like the games that they make from Bethesda proper, they kind of live up to the expectation for the most part. So I do expect this game to be great and amazing. I just hope that it has just less bugs than than games that came previous to it. But I just want this game to succeed so we can get on to the next game.
I imagine it will
succeed.
I would imagine it will have less bugs than your typical Bethesda Games Studios games, simply because I believe if they were not acquired by Microsoft, this game would have been out. It would have came out last year, I think.
Oh, you think they would have just pushed this game out last year?
They would have pushed it out like they pushed out there
along the way.
Yeah, fixed it along the way, or let the modding community on PC fix a lot of things as they've done in the past. But I think that the expectations of this game, as Phil Spencer said, they didn't even pay attention to Redfall, but they paid far more attention to Starfield.
They did. That is something he said.
I think that kind of led them to decide to go ahead and just delay Starfield as well, because they actually knew back then whether the game had 60 frames per second or not, and they actually knew what the game was capable of, because they actually paid attention beyond just telling them cancel the PS5 version. So,
yep.
All right, man. Well, nice little mini show, I would say. You know, I think I knew this topic was gonna get a little heated, but it is what it is.
Oh, I love that topic. The topic was great, man. That's a really good topic.
Shout out to everybody that came through. We appreciate you guys. Forte, I know you gotta get going. You gotta get back to your GameStop store and you know, manage all of these crazy people picking up this game.
I'm gonna take pictures and post them on Twitter when I get there.
Oh boy.
You'll see the massive amount of people at my store.
You can probably smell them too. I got
air freshener. I got air freshener all around my store. So the BO, I barely smell it. It does exist though.
Oh boy. Yeah. Let's go on out of here. Forte, what you got going on your channel, and where can everybody find you?
Well, as always, Gaming Forte everywhere, YouTube and Twitter. And it's always great to be here. Working on a couple different things. Post some stuff probably in the next couple of days or so. I might do. I'm scared to do a stream of Tears of the Kingdom because Nintendo coming after people, but I think you'll be fine after the game comes out. But with that, that's all I'll be doing. Working the rest of the weekend. I got Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday off next week, so definitely going to put a lot of time into the game on those days, and have some really good first impressions, or probably some really good impressions, not just first impressions, really good impressions for the show next week on what I think about the game. But be looking out for that.
We will be relying on your impression. Absolutely.
Yeah, because we know you ain't gonna play it.
I'm not playing.
and guess what? Don't be a fraud gamer. Post your gameplay. Don't go out here. That's the one thing. This is like a huge. This is probably one of the biggest game. This isn't just the biggest game of the year. It's the game of the year so far. Don't be talking junk about Zelda, talking about how you love it and not posting gameplay.
You calling out a lot of people out here.
No, listen, don't be doing that, man. If you're gonna be out here talking about Zelda,
I love X game. I love X platform for giving me X game, and then
just take screenshots. Even if you can't take because I know that everybody doesn't have capture cards and stuff like that, and Nintendo just doesn't believe in sharing gameplay and stuff like that.
Can't you share like 20-second clips or something?
Can
like
you?
That? I don't know.
It's been so long since I tried to do that.
I haven't tried in.
You probably can. I wouldn't be surprised. But if you do, man, show
the
gameplay.
The process of sharing screenshots is so convoluted.
That is very true too. So I don't blame you guys on Nintendo. Nintendo don't give you any type of functionality for that.
Yeah, I remember when I was trying to organize my screenshots for when I beat Fire Emblem Three Houses and Fire Emblem Engage, and like it's easy to take screenshots, but then after you take them and you want to like say upload them to your there's a way you can upload them to your phone, but it's like you gotta it pulls up a screen with a barcode. And then you gotta use your camera app to hit the barcode. So then it will take you to like an IP address that's like it's so stupid. And then you download it that way, and it's just like, bro, what in the world is happening here? Death Singer says cannot post gameplay. LOL for reasons.
For reasons,
right?
Yeah,
reasons is I ain't playing the game, man. I'm just capping. That's how most of them are. No, you want to do the channel member?
Yeah, stuff? I got mine's up now. So we got the homie Gregor Von Doom, Texas Lean, Truth Serum, Big Mad Mo, Ducky, D Flex 27, Dragonheart Yobi, Stardust Acero, Ramon Terrell, Hargi Chani, Brat Basement Radio Arcade Podcast, The Boss, Corey Hale, Erodimus, Slomo Backslap, DJ Oris, and that guy Smitty. Really appreciate you guys and can't wait to chuck it up with you guys next week on the channel.
Right. On my side of things, we got Arcade 4247, Donnell Brown, Captain Crunch, Neil S, Jeff B Gaming, Percolator 9000, Steve Harlow, East Texas Alex, Franco Tech, Johnny, Dexflex 27, John the Don, Babe, Dragonheart Yobi, Enrique Harky Shani, Truth Serum, Erodimus, Ramon Terrell, Humi One Kenobi, Gaming Forte, Corey Hale, Stardust Acero, and that guy Smitty. And if you want to become a channel member, please just hit the join button. It's right there, somewhere on your phone. I think it's close to like the like button or something. If you haven't hit like button, hit the like button too. You're frauds. I appreciate you. I'm gonna get on out of here. I dropped a video last week. The problem with Xbox, a lot of people agreed with it. Apparently significant, I would say significantly less people, but also, people with valued opinions disagree with it. It's fine. I got a follow-up video that I'm working on that, some of y'all probably ain't gonna like that one either. Just keep it a buck. But, it's kind of following up with some additional thoughts based upon the same topic. Go check it out. It should be out either tomorrow or Saturday. So yeah, but we're getting up out of here. Or say anything you gotta say before we shut this down?
Only thing I have to say is enjoy your games and have a good week.
All right, yeah, I agree. Play games, enjoy games, have fun. Take care. Peace.